Reporting from Ukraine update. Ukrainians expanded their bridgehead in multiple directions after recent successful offensive operations. Russians are gathering forces for a counterattack to prevent Ukrainians from entrenching in new positions. They have increased use of heavy artillery as preparation. Russians launched an infantry attack from the forest and a mechanized attack with at least 2 tanks to try to cut off Ukrainian logistics and support. The Russian mechanized attack was repelled, with Ukraine destroying or capturing tanks. The infantry attack does not seem to have succeeded in pushing Ukrainians out of the forest. Russia deployed additional troops near the contact line, but Ukrainian drones identified their locations, and HIMARS strikes targeted them, undermining their combat capability. Ukrainians may have an opportunity for further advancement, given the failed Russian counterattacks and targeting of reinforcements. The United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense latest intelligence update on Ukraine. November 16, 2023. Russian forces have continued attacks towards villages near Avdiivka, Donetsk Oblast, likely attempting to encircle the town. Avdiivka is politically important to Russia due to its proximity to Donetsk city. Russian advances have brought forces close to the Avdiivka coke and chemical plant north of the town. The plant is strategically located on the main road into Avdiivka. If Russia takes it, resupplying Avdiivka will be very difficult for Ukraine. However, the plant provides a defensive advantage for Ukraine. Russian forces will likely suffer heavy losses if they assault it. Ukraine Matters update. Russians attacked around Kupiansk, trying to cut off Ukrainian supply lines. Ukrainians initially advanced, but Russians counterattacked and regained some ground. Fighting is still ongoing in this area. Around Bakhmut, Russians are trying to take the towns of Opythna and Soledar to hit Ukrainian forces in Bakhmut from the rear. Heavy fighting continues. Ukrainians made a breakthrough south of Bakhmut, advancing towards the city of Horlivka. However, Horlivka is a large urban area that won't be easy to take. Russia has launched attacks along multiple sections of the front line to tie down Ukrainian forces and prevent them from concentrating on Bakhmut. Russian artillery strikes and casualties have greatly increased as they go on the offensive. Russia may be trying to gain ground before more Western weapons arrive. The EU is slow in implementing sanctions like restricting machine tool exports to Russia and enforcing oil price caps. The Institute for the Study of War Russian-Offensive Campaign Assessment. Russian forces conducted missile and drone strikes against Ukraine on October 15 to 16, launching 18 Shahed 131 and Shahed 136 drones. Ukraine shot down 16 of them. Russia launched S-300 missiles at Kharkiv Oblast, and Ukraine destroyed a Kh-59 cruise missile over Poltava Oblast on November 15. Russia changed the timing of the November 16 drone attack, conducting it until around 9:30 a.m. instead of the usual 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. timeframe. Russia has concentrated over 800 missiles, including Kalibr and Onyx, in occupied Crimea, and intends to use them against Ukrainian energy infrastructure this winter. The Institute for the Study of War key takeaways today. Russia is strengthening air defenses in central Russia, likely in response to Ukraine's intent to attack supply lines. Russian military bloggers are criticizing distortions of the war effort in Russian media, highlighting divisions in the information space. Putin awarded a prominent military blogger to gain his loyalty despite past criticism. Equipment failures at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant under Russian occupation threaten safety. Cyprus is allegedly helping sanctioned Russian elites launder money. Gazprom acquired a Russian blogger agency, expanding state media control. A Russian general overseeing forces in Ukraine was found dead. Russia continued offensive operations along several axes in eastern and southern Ukraine. Russia plans new military-focused courses for schoolchildren starting in 2024. Russia continues forcibly deporting Ukrainian children. Jake Broe update. Russia is attempting multiple simultaneous offensives in Ukraine, in the Donbass, around Kharkiv, and near Kherson. This is to try to overwhelm or confuse Ukrainian forces. Russia continues to take heavy casualties, estimated at 1,330 soldiers neutralized just yesterday. Putin plans to announce his re-election bid in mid-December. He wants a military victory in Ukraine to tout before then, which is why Russia is focused on taking Avdiivka. Ukraine has established a foothold across the Dnipro River near Kherson, which could pave the way towards Crimea. This is a key development. Zelenskyy says something big is coming militarily before the end of the year. Ukraine is applying maximum pressure to break the narrative of a stalemate. Denmark is considering blocking passage of Russian oil tankers through the Danish Straits if they violate sanctions. This would be a new way to pressure Russia economically. Ukraine's Armed Forces General Staff Update. Day 631 of Russia's attempted invasion of Ukraine continues. Fighting and shelling continues across many axes front lines. Russia launched 9 missile strikes, 31 airstrikes, 26 multiple launch rocket system attacks against Ukrainian positions and settlements. Russia also used 18 Shahed drones, of which 16 were shot down. Fighting remains active in eastern and southern Ukraine. Little change in northwestern Ukraine near Belarus border. Belarus units continue activities near the border. Russia shelling settlements in northeast Ukraine from Russian territory, minefields being increased along the border. Failed Russian assaults near Kupiansk, and fighting continues near Lyman in the east. Fierce fighting near Bakhmut, with Russia making repeated failed attacks. Air and artillery strikes used by Russia here. Failed Russian attacks and shelling along Avdiivka and Marinka axes near Donetsk. Fighting near Staromayorsky in the Donetsk region. Air and artillery strikes used by Russia. Failed Russian attacks near Zaporizhia. Air and artillery strikes used. Heavy shelling across the region. Shelling of Kherson and surrounding areas as Ukraine continues offensive operations. Ukraine continues offensive operations near Melitopol and Bakhmut, inflicting losses on Russian forces. Ukraine conducted airstrikes and missile strikes against Russian forces, equipment and positions.